Sorry about that, guys. Technical difficulties, please stand by. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our program this evening. We have breaking news. A helicopter went down in the Hudson River earlier this afternoon at approximately 3:17 p.m. The call went out. We've got up-to-the-minute report from Fox News right here.
That's right. Well, first of all, there's been a little bit more increased activity in terms of boats moving around the site of the debris that's still in the water behind us. Again, the debris has not been lifted out of the water yet. It is still submerged, and it looks like the legs, if you will, of the helicopter are still sticking up out of the water. But when I walk down this walkway, again, just a few minutes ago, there is what looks like personal belongings that may have belonged to the people who were in the helicopter floating around here. We saw what appears to be two brown leather seats that, again, you would assume came from this helicopter floating in the water. And there's also what seems to be an oil sheen on the water near where the helicopter crashed. Again, I talked to people that live in these neighboring buildings. A lot of them were home, working from home when the crash happened. They all heard a boom. They said it woke some of their babies up. Their dogs heard it and were startled and, started barking. And it's very somber, and people are really sad here. And again, when I first got to the scene earlier, I spoke with a young boy named Leo who was walking this walkway after school with his mom, and he actually saw a lot of the helicopter debris, and he took a video of it that he shared with me. Take a look here.
So first of all, a really important thing I saw, so I was walking to school, like my school's in Hoboken, so I was walking through that terminal, and then, I didn't hear anything. I just saw, a lot of these people were standing at the pier, they were, watching something, and then I saw all these boats, and then I'm like, what happened over there? And they said a helicopter crashed. So I'm like, yeah, that's really scary. And I continued down from my way to school, and then I saw this man filming something in the water, and at first I thought, recording litter in the water at this time? Seriously? But then I realized those were actual helicopter pieces. Yeah. So I joined the recording.
And what did you see? What did the helicopter pieces look like? You mentioned it might be the rotors?
Yeah. So it looked like the rotors. They were big, thick, and they had on one side, there were two pieces. So the bigger piece, it had on one side, it was black, and then there was this a goldish line, and then it was white. Maybe that can help you figure out which helicopter it is from.
That's what it looks like right now with the skids of the helicopter sticking up out of the air.
Yeah, that's right. Again, people are just getting home from work, it seems like, around here, and we've seen a lot of people walking their dogs, people with families just coming to take a look, again, at the helicopter wreckage, which is still in the water. There's been some increased activity, as I said, with police boats and FDNY boats coming over close to where this big crane boat that it's presumably going to pull the wreckage out of the water is, but again, it's still in the water. People coming over to look, and again, a lot of people can't believe that they're seeing, again, presumably wreckage and personal belongings from this helicopter right along this walkway, and I guess you would call it 10 feet, I would say. Not 10 feet, maybe 30 feet from these high-rise buildings. There's wreckage in the water floating. So police have not removed anything yet in terms of the materials from the water, guys.
Yeah, it's inconceivable. It's heartbreaking. Meredith, thank you. This is a sightseeing helicopter. So many of them taking off, and there's so many helipads around that area of the Hudson River, too. And so it is truly, truly a heartbreaking afternoon on the Hudson River. We want to go to Jessica Formosa, who's been live along Pier 40. Jess, what are your sources telling you?
Bianca, Natasha, well, we now know that recovery effort.
You see a crane in the water right there, right next to the pier. What it's going to do is it's going to lift that helicopter out of the water. As that helicopter is lifted out of the water, all you'll see is the passenger compartment of the helicopter. I do not think we're going to see it today. I think it'll be sometime tonight before they lift this helicopter out of the water. Earlier this afternoon, approximately 4 p.m., the Coast Guard and the New York City Police Department and the fire department had a raft in the water, and they were lifting bodies out of the water, putting them on skids, and bringing them to waiting ambulances. A total of 5 people were killed with this helicopter crash. The pilot, a mother and father, and 3 children. Again, 3 children, a mother and father, and the pilot of the helicopter. Okay? This was first reported approximately 3:15 p.m. About 3:40 p.m. when the first crews arrived on the scene. According to the New York Fire Department, at least 6 people were on board. A pilot, 3 children, and 2 adults. This was a family of 5 tourists from Spain. All 6 have been removed from the 50-degree water here in Hudson, on the Hudson River, and they have been since deceased. 2 of the victims were rushed to the hospital, and they died at the hospital. We don't know whether they were children or whether they were adults, but at least 2 people were taken to the hospital where they died at the hospital. One person, Eric Campoverde, told ABC News he was walking by and the helicopter went down at a 45-degree angle. I showed you the video of that helicopter going down at the beginning of this telecast. It went down in a big splash. It was very scary. He said it sounded like a sonic boom. He said the helicopter was split in two parts of the helicopter. Now, folks, right now I don't have time to show you both parts of the helicopter splashing. But the rotors of the helicopter were the second to splash. First, the passenger compartment of the helicopter went down, as you saw at the beginning of this video. Then, just literally moments later, the rotors were still spinning in the air, and they're aerodynamic, so they are going to float in the air as they come down. They were still spinning. As they spun in the air, they fell into the water. They created a smaller splash. The helicopter was upside down when rescuers arrived at the scene. You saw the helicopter fall into the water. That's normal. Okay? The bottom of the helicopter will go down first, but then after the helicopter itself hits the water, the top of the helicopter will go down because the top of the helicopter is the heaviest. Okay? Went upside down when it hit the water. Okay? It was on the Jersey side of the Hudson River. Tourist helicopters and small planes often use this Hudson River helicopter corridor to fly through, and they go to various destinations throughout New York and New Jersey. We do not know why this accident happened or anything about it other than the back and the front of the helicopter appeared to have split apart. The body of the aircraft went down very rapidly, as we showed you at the beginning of this broadcast. Then a moment later, something else crashed in the water about 25 yards away. It was the rotor blades. The rotor blades of the helicopter spun off the helicopter. The chopper appeared to have gone down without any power descent because it was missing the rotors. Okay? That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. It cannot do a power descent. Okay? It cannot be a spin-in. But had the rotors attached to the top of the helicopter, then it would have been a spin-in, and then it could have gradually fallen down or powered down onto a piece of pavement or something. But as of this time, it didn't happen. 2 sections of the helicopter split off, the rotors and the passenger compartment of the helicopter, and you saw it fall into the water as we showed you a few minutes ago. Terrifying. A total of 6 people were killed. 6 people were killed. 3 children, a pilot, and their 2 parents. The family was from Spain. Very sad day in New York and New Jersey today. Unreal. Very, very sad. I'm sorry to say I was even able to see it. Okay, it was horrifying for me. I have not flown in helicopters, but I've been around helicopters most of my life. I've had friends that flew them. Unreal, very unreal. Now, there's something else I want to talk about here today before we talk about earthquakes. Okay, I want to talk about the Social Security events. Okay, during the past 4 years, we saw the former Biden administration allow illegal aliens into this country. Either they came across the border from the southern border, or they were flown in by the Biden administration, flown in from various parts of the world. The Biden administration told the Social Security Department to give them Social Security cards. When they came across the border from the southern part of the border, and they were later mailed ID cards, mailed Social Security cards. Okay? That's how they got them. Either they flew across the border where they got them, they flew across the border and they told immigration where they were going to be, and they were mailed Social Security cards. Then, I want to start off with 2021. Illegal aliens got 270,425 Social Security cards. In 2022, they got 590,193. So now we're talking 800,000 plus. 800,000 plus illegals having Social Security cards. Then in 2023, nearly 1 million people, illegal aliens in 2023 got Social Security cards. 964,163. Nearly 1 million that year alone. Then we add up the other 2 prior years. Nearly 890,000 in those previous 2 years. Then in 2024, another 2,095,247 people got Social Security cards. That means at least 4 million people got Social Security cards, and we believe there's actually 20 million people that got them. We believe there's actually 20 million illegals that got them. Why do I say that? Look at the numbers of people that we caught without identification. Look at the numbers of Doge caught. Look at the numbers that Doge caught. Millions and millions of people. That is canceled now. Their Social Security numbers have been canceled. They can no longer receive money. Many people illegally got Social Security money. We have one man who used to work for the Social Security Department. He has since been fired. He was supposed to have been arrested, but I don't think he's been arrested yet. But he was responsible for 20 million people. 20 million people's Social Security money. 20 million. Imagine that. Imagine that. And he's not in jail yet. So we have all these illegals getting money. That money's been canceled. They're not getting it. President Trump has told these people, get out of the country now. Get out of the country now. You have no reason to say you're not getting money any longer. If you're not getting money any longer, get out. If you don't get out, we're going to deport you. Now, we got some good information from the U.S. Supreme Court the other day. Justice Roberts said that President Trump can continue to deport illegal aliens that are gang members. The Democrats had put up all these judges trying to keep President Trump in check, keep him from putting out any more deportees. That is ended now. President Trump can continue to use the law from 1798 to deport these gangbangers. They're gone. They're going to be gone. Not only that, but all these other illegal aliens are going to go away as well. Mr. Holman who is the border czar. He's going with Secretary Nolan for Homeland Security. He's going with the FBI, both Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and other Homeland Security people, Border Patrol and Immigration, to take these people out, to remove them from this country, not to kill them, but to deport them out of this country. That is in progress. That is in progress. Again, the United States Supreme Court has ordered this to continue. We've also got some other good information coming from Congress. Today, the House of Representatives passed a bill to make sure these people leave, to make sure they don't vote, Okay? Now, that bill has gone to the Senate. Now, why is this important? I'm going to tell you why it's important. We need to make sure that these people don't ever vote again. When they got their Social Security numbers, they were also signed up to vote. With that happening, what do you think happened? What do you think happened? When they were signed up to vote, the Biden administration did it on purpose so they could keep control of this country. They did it so the Democrat Party could keep control of this country for years and years and years. Now that's stopped. Hopefully the Senate now will take this bill up within the next few days before they head out for the 2-week recess. Hopefully. Okay? But you and I have about 24 hours. We have about 24 hours to ban these illegals from voting. We need to call our senators immediately. We need to call our senators and tell them to vote positive on this bill. Vote against having these illegals vote. Illegal aliens right now can vote in left-wing cities and states across this country, from California to Vermont, but not for long. Again, the House of Representatives this morning just passed what they call the SAVE Act, which will ban illegal immigrants from voting. Ban them. We need that to happen. This is a tremendous victory for the Congress, but we need to make sure it continues. We need to call our senators tonight and early in the morning to make sure they vote immediately on this SAVE Act and vote to inform the illegal aliens that they can no longer vote. That has to be. That has to be. We can't stop just with the House. We need to continue with the Senate. This bill is on a knife's edge in the Senate. So we need every patriot hearing this message to help us get the SAVE Act across the finish line. Radical Democrats are vowing to fight both hook, tooth, and nail to kill this bill in the Senate. Call your senators immediately and tell them to vote on pass the SAVE Act. Pass the SAVE Act. During the past 4 years, like I said, Joe Biden and the radical Senate Democrat Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, killed this common sense legislation. Now that President Trump is back in office and conservatives have the majority of Congress, both in the House and the Senate, we have a historic opportunity to restore integrity to our elections by passing the SAVE Act. But if the radical left succeeds in blocking the SAVE Act again, thousands of illegal immigrants that Joe Biden let into our country could influence critical elections in the coming years. Already, this past election last year, we know that illegal aliens voted in the election. Just take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes out of your day and call your senators to help us overcome the Democrat opposition and pass the SAVE Act to ban illegal immigrants from voting. Please do that. This is absolutely mandatory. We need to do this today and tomorrow to make sure it happens. One other thing. We know what happened with the shadow government, okay? Obama, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Senator Raskin, and Adam Schiff formed a shadow government to try to get and throw out President Trump. They tried to throw out President Trump. They tried sedition and treason. It didn't work. It didn't work. But now Raskin, Schiff, Schumer, Nancy Pelosi need to be arrested immediately. Call your FBI agents. Call your local FBI and tell them that there is no excuse for these people still to be out of jail. They need to be arrested on sedition and treason charges. They started a shadow government to try to keep President Trump out. And even since he's been voted in, they've continued to try to put the shadow government into power. There's no excuse for this to happen. With this going on, what part of this country are we going to see? Are we going to continue to see the left in charge? Hell no. Hell no. It cannot happen. We need to keep the citizens of this country in charge. We need to keep the citizens of this country in charge. The conservatives I'm talking about. The conservatives. Right now it's mandatory, guys. I hate to say that. It's mandatory. We cannot allow this country to be gone over by Europe. Already in Europe, and I could find video after video to prove this to you. Over in Europe, it's very, very bad. Why? Because Europe has no morals. Europe has no morals, no moral compass. They do not have the freedom of speech. They don't have a freedom to even get out and protest. They don't have that. If they're caught out protesting, they can be arrested. If they put anything on social media that the police don't like or their government doesn't like, they will send the police over and tell them to either take it down or they will be immediately arrested and put in jail. That's what's happening in Europe right now. We cannot let that happen in this country. We need to make sure that these people that started this for the United States are put in jail, tried and convicted and remain in jail for the rest of their lives. Okay? We need that. We need that. So folks, please do this today. Call your senators and tell them to pass the Save America Act, the SAVE Act. Tell them to pass the SAVE Act. This is absolutely mandatory. Okay? I'm sorry to say we have to do this. We need to. If we don't do it, we face the possibility of losing our country again. We can't allow that to happen. Renee Steffi says, can we say communism? That's exactly right. We cannot allow this to happen anymore. Never again. We almost lost our country last year. Biden tried. Obama tried. Obama and his black shadow coalition played a coup on Biden, taking him out of the presidency, putting Harris in charge, running for the presidency. She failed. She failed because of President Trump. President Trump proved in the first debate that Biden was not coherent. Biden couldn't lead this country at all. Biden was not leading this country. It was a shadow government. Then they ran Harris because they had nobody else. President Trump debated Harris. It proved that Harris was nothing. She couldn't do anything either. She never, not once, got the people at a rally that Trump did. Not once did she get the people like Trump did, ever. She was a bad person. She was surrounded by bad people. We cannot allow this to happen again. Richard Smith is saying liberals are destroying Canada. They are. They really are. Next Wednesday, I hope to get Dave, Canadian Patriot 1 here on our channel again, and hopefully get Barry Prince also here. They know exactly what's going on in Canada. Richard Smith, I would love to have you in here as well. And even Arnold. All four of you. That would be awesome. Letting you guys tell everyone what's going on in Canada. Because you guys actually live there and you guys know it. God bless you all. God bless you all. We need each other to stick together. It doesn't matter whether you're Canadian or American. We need to stick together. We cannot come apart. If we do, our countries are lost. Our countries are lost. We're already fighting a battle with tariffs. Countries around this world want to tax our government, want to tax this country. President Trump has temporarily stopped it. 50 countries want to negotiate with the United States, but China doesn't. China doesn't. China's still fighting the United States. And I just heard a broadcast today that China doesn't care whether they fight us on the ground, in cyberspace, or terrorists. They're willing to come neck to neck with us and take us down. That's what China wants. We cannot allow that to happen. We can never allow that to happen, not once, ever again. Okay? We need to take back our country, and we need to take it back once and for all and forever. We can't let this to continue at all, period. Okay? Now, let's talk about earthquakes. Actually, before Renee Stepping has something here to say as well, don't let hate divide what's great. Do not let hate divide what's great. Renee, that's awesome. I want to remember that. Do not let hate divide what's great. Mark says, God bless Canucks. I agree. God bless our neighbors to the north. We love them. I truly do. When I was a teenager, my parents took us on several trips from Fargo, North Dakota, over the border into Manitoba, Canada, up to Lake Saskatchewan and Lake Winnipeg. We went there. I fished there. I got to know a lot of Canucks there. I love them. I truly love the people in Canada. I love the country. But right now, the country in Canada is a mess. The Liberals have taken over, and they want to continue their own way. Freedom of speech, everything gone, just like Europe. We can't let that continue. We can't do that. Mark says he's been boycotting Chinese food. I have as well. I haven't gone to a Chinese restaurant in at least 4 years, maybe longer. I'm not going to. I'm not going to. And I like Chinese food, but I'm not going to patronize those places. Not now, not ever. Okay? That part of life is over for me. Not because I can't eat it, because I want it, but I'm not going to do it. They've already taken our land. We have sold out to the Chinese. They own a lot of land throughout the United States. Over in Arkansas, the governor of Arkansas has prevented that from happening any longer. She threw the Chinese out of Arkansas. Arkansas took back the land that China bought. That is what has to happen in every state of this country, including North Dakota, where the Chinese own land right next to the Air Force Base, right next to Minot Air Force Base. Why did we let that happen? Why did we let China buy up a large piece of farmland right next to the Minot Air Force Base where we control missiles and B-52 bombers? How's that possible? Why did we let that happen? That should never, ever have happened. Never. But it has. We cannot let this happen anymore. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. Anyway, I'm kind of political, okay? I'm kind of political. And I come by it righteously. My father and mother were staunch conservatives. I grew up with a philosophy, but I also saw the other side. I saw the other side. The other side doesn't give us anything. So I came by it honestly. Years ago, I worked for a United States congressman in San Diego County, North San Diego County, Congressman Ron Packard. We got him elected in, I think it was about 1980, 1981, something like that, and we kept him elected. I worked for 6 years for Ron Packard. I was his campaign manager. At one point, Ron Packard was so popular that all we had to do is put his name on the ballot and he'd win. He'd win. But when he was in Washington and could not make it back to San Diego County to give a speech, he called me to do it. So I went to schools, I went to town halls, I made all kinds of efforts for Congressman Packard, and I do it again. I do it again in a heartbeat. I know the issues. I know what the people need. I'm willing to fight for it. And that's one of the things I'm doing on this channel. I'm fighting for our rights. Okay? I'm fighting for our rights. We have to do this. We have to do this. Now, anyway, do any of you have any questions about anything we talked about? Either the helicopter crash in New York or the politics of what's going on? I want to help you. I want to help you. Richard Smith has continued to put up earthquakes around the world, which I greatly appreciate. Greatly appreciate that very much. When I first tried to come on the air tonight, I found out something that I didn't think was going to happen. When I signed off the program last night, all the entries that I made into my broadcast software disappeared when I sign off the software. That usually doesn't happen. The software keeps my data entry here, but that did not happen. What I'm doing tonight is I'm flying off the seat of my pants. And I have entered as much information as I possibly could remember, except for one thing. Except for one thing. Guess what that was? I forgot to put up the USGS earthquakes. I'm going to do that right now. I want to show you what's going on the ground, and then we're going to talk about the Pacific Northwest first, then we're going to talk about all the earthquakes in Southern California. I'm going to go from north to south because we have a lot of earthquakes to talk about. Okay? So let's get this earthquake map up here. I'm going to start down in the South Pacific as I normally do. The reason I'm doing that is I want to give you the best map so you can see the most information here. Give me a second here. Okay, this is the Salton Sea. We're going to come back to the Imperial Valley in just a few minutes. Okay, let's go down to the South Pacific. I want to show you the largest earthquakes have hit here in the South Pacific. Notice right now, the USGS is showing 3 earthquakes over in South America along the coast, west coast of their country. Guess what? There's 28 earthquakes today in South America. USGS is not even showing, well, actually they're showing 4, but they're not even showing a third of the earthquakes. Not at all. Why not? Why not? Let's go over here to the Easter Island area. This is a large 5.1 earthquake here near Easter Island. Near Easter Island. This is another large earthquake. This is also 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. Let's go over here to the Pacific Islands. USGS is not showing any earthquakes here in New Zealand. Guess what? We have 4.0 and large earthquakes here in New Zealand. 4.3, 4.7, and a 4.9. New Zealand. The 4.9 earthquake was a 5.2 that they downgraded to a 4.9. The 4.7 earthquake in New Zealand, they first came out as a 3.3. A 3.3 that they increased to a 4.7. That was at 7, I believe it was just after 7 o'clock this morning. This had continued. 3 4.0 moderate earthquakes and above. 4.0, 4.9 here in New Zealand. And yet, USGS is not showing any of those earthquakes. We've also had some earthquakes over here in Tonga and Fiji that they're not showing. Why not? Why are you not showing them, USGS? Idiots. We go further over here to the Solomon Islands. This is another 5.0 earthquake. 5.0 earthquake here, 119 kilometers west of Bula, B-U-A-L-A, Solomon Islands. Okay? Out in the ocean waters. The ocean waters here absorb the shockwaves of this quake. The ocean waters absorb the shockwaves of this quake. Okay? 5.0 earthquake. Then we come back over here to the west. Here is Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. This is Kimbe, Papua New Guinea. How many times does Kimbe, Papua New Guinea need to get hit by large earthquakes? This is the third 5.0 earthquake here in the past few days. It's a third 5.0 earthquake here in the past few days. This is a 5.2. This is a 5.2 earthquake. This earthquake hit at approximately 4:20 a.m. 4:20 a.m. Eastern Time. This earthquake here is a 5.4. 5.4 earthquake. This hit yesterday. This is a 4.7 here. Okay? This hit this morning. Unreal. Now we've had 3 5.0 and large earthquakes here in the ocean waters off of Papua New Guinea. We are lucky right now that this hit where it did. Notice it's on an earthquake fault here. This is actually the edge of the plate. Well, as I've said before, there are 7 different plates in play here. There are 7 different plates in play here in the Southeast Asia area, including Tonga and Samoa, Fiji, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, the Legacy Islands, and New Zealand. All those areas including Australia here. 7 different tectonic plates in play here. That's why we have so many earthquakes here. And it's sad that USGS is no longer showing all these earthquakes. They did last year. But during last year, they started cutting back on all the quakes that were showing. And pretty soon, they hardly show any at all. It's sad. It's very sad. 7 different tectonic plates here, one subducting on the other like I showed you here. Okay? One subducting under the other. Let me show you again here. Let me take this map down for just a minute. Subduction happens like this. One plate subducting under the other just like this. Okay? Why does that happen? A lot of things are in play here. One of the things that has happened is we are having sunspots on the sun erupt. Solar flares. The solar flares are throwing plasma radiation out into space. Those solar flares, if they're Earth facing, send this solar radiation out like this. When the plasma radiation hits the Earth like this, it heats up the core of the Earth, heats up our atmosphere. The plasma radiation works its way through the magnetosphere that is supposed to protect our planet. The plasma radiation gets through the magnetosphere and through our atmosphere, heating up our atmosphere as well. Then it reaches the surface of the Earth. It heats up the plates. It heats up the earthquake faults that move. What happens? What happens? Earthquake faults and the plates are held together by friction. By friction. What happens? When that solar radiation heats up the plates and the faults, all that biological material, the sand, the gravel, the rock, the dead plants and everything heat up. It creates an oily, greasy substance, allowing the plates and the faults to more freely move just like this. That's why we have earthquakes. That's what's been happening. We've had some X-class flares, we've had some M-class flares, and we've had some R-class flares. All that energy is reaching the Earth, causing earthquakes and the plates to move. That's what's happening. That's why we're seeing these earthquakes. And folks, when we've had these earthquakes hit, during the past few weeks, we've seen some 7.0s, 7.4s, we've seen some 7.8s, we've seen some 8.0 earthquakes. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Larger and larger earthquakes happen. We've also had a few planetary alignments. When the planets align, they send out electromagnetic radiation to our planet. When we have planetary alignments, those planetary alignments send electromagnetic radiation to our planet. That radiation also goes through the magnetosphere, through our atmosphere, slightly heating up the atmosphere and heating up the plates and also the faults, also heating up the core of the Earth. That also causes the plates and the faults to more freely move like this. It dissolves all that biological material, the dirt, the gravel, the sand, everything, turning it into a greasy, oil-like substance, and then we have the plates more freely move like this. That happens. That's why we're seeing these earthquakes now. That's why we're seeing these earthquakes now. Let's go over here. I want to show you this. Wait till you see this. Folks, this is a 5.5 earthquake. This is a 5.5 earthquake here. This is 73 kilometers southeast of Agats, A-G-A-T-S, Indonesia. Agats, Indonesia. Look where this is at. When I first saw this earthquake hit, I'm going, oh my gosh, this hit on land. This is a medium range 5. Medium range 5. 5.6 to 5.9 are considered to be very large earthquakes. This is that borderline. This is a 5.5 large earthquake. This earthquake can do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Now, there are some villages here in Papua New Guinea. There are some villages here in Papua New Guinea. Where we have rivers, as you see here, we see some villages happen here along rivers because rivers offer the potential for fish to provide food for the people. They offer the possibility of transportation to other places. That's why people live along rivers here in Papua New Guinea. These people are very poor. These people of Papua New Guinea are very poor. As a result, when we see an earthquake like this, it just destroys everybody's property. They do not have homes like we do. The people here in Papua New Guinea do not have homes like we do. They live in cardboard shacks or even wooden shacks. They don't have the property like we do. When some earthquake like this hits, it destroys everything that they have. Everything. That's what happened when this earthquake hit. Okay? That is what happened when this earthquake hit. A sad day. A sad day for these people. Let's go further west here. This is Ternate, Indonesia, central Indonesia. This is the 4.3 earthquake here. This is only 126 kilometers deep. Still a very shallow earthquake. Over here, we have a 4.4 in Tobelo, Indonesia. This earthquake is semi-deep. 226 kilometers deep. Semi-deep. These two earthquakes are not going to propagate any other earthquakes. However, we usually don't see deep earthquakes in this region. Occasionally it does happen. It does happen. There are 17 earthquakes here in Indonesia. USGS has shown us 3. Incredible. These people are suffering. Most of these earthquakes are 4.5s, 4.7s. I think I saw one 4.4. Sad. Because these people are going to suffer. Every time the earth shakes, these people run scared. They run scared. Yes, there are places over here like Java, Indonesia here, like Bali and other such places. Larger cities have some money. They have a little better chance of surviving quakes and tsunamis. But in some of these other outlying places, they don't have that opportunity. Okay? We have earthquakes down here as well. So far, we have not had any large earthquakes over here in Java, Indonesia. We have had no large earthquakes over here in Sumatra, Indonesia either. However, over here in Myanmar is still getting hammered. This is a 4.0 earthquake. 4.0 earthquake in one of the cities that got hardest hit, Saigon. Sagang, Saigon, Myanmar. Those people are suffering. These people are heavily suffering. Unreal. I feel for them. I feel them really bad. They have less than we do. They have less than we do. CNN reported that Myanmar's deadly earthquake exposes void left by the United States in the global disaster response. Let me talk about that. I think we all need to know what's going on. Myanmar's deadly earthquake left themselves exposed because the United States has also been funneling money over here, helping these people. But now their government, their military people are not allowing that money to come in. It's a sad day. I showed you pictures that happened when that earthquake hit. Let me see if I can bring another picture up here. I want to kind of show you what's going on here. Let's drop the map right quickly here. Right here. Look at that. This is just one more building that was heavily damaged by that quake. We're not getting much information because their military government is not letting people, journalists, or anybody else in to see what's going on. But Myanmar, before this earthquake happened, as I've explained before, was suffering civil war. The Chinese were also having their say in what's going on here in Myanmar. China's to the north of Myanmar. China wanted to take over Myanmar as well. But the military junta that took power in Myanmar a couple of years ago has been failing. The citizens have been trying to take back their country. But war-torn Myanmar struggles right now. War-torn Myanmar struggles right now. They've had devastating earthquakes, not just the 8.0 that happened. As you know, there have been aftershocks here. Very dangerous aftershocks. What the big quake didn't destroy, these aftershocks are. Some of the aftershocks has been as high as 6.6, 6.7. Most of the aftershocks now are moderate earthquakes and small earthquakes. But it's continuing. As I said before, the USGS called this a 7.7 earthquake. And I showed you data proving that it was a lot stronger. Okay? That 8.0 plus earthquake hit on March 28th, killed thousands of people. Killed thousands of people. It's the first natural disaster since the Trump administration canceled billions of dollars through USAID. Trump dismantled the agency. However, our government is trying to provide aid for them now. Before, USAID was administering like $71 billion total in 2023. $71 billion total in 2023. Now, that's gone. President Trump has canceled 83% of USAID's programs, not just to Myanmar, but the rest of the world, including the staff that was monitoring the programs and funneling money to themselves. But what has happened here in Myanmar is almost deadly, because now Myanmar has to stand on its own. The United States has sent a lot of aid here now. They've sent 3 workers here. 3 workers here. Within days of arriving at Myanmar, a lot of things happen. A lot of things happen. Their mosques, their churches, their businesses were destroyed. Some 3,550 people have been killed in Myanmar. Nearly 5,000 others have been injured, and these numbers rise every day. Earthquake hit the impoverished Southeast Asian nation, which has endured years of civil war, and a military coup in 2021, leaving nearly 20 million people in need of aid. Military government in Myanmar does not commit all of its resource-rich country as it battles a patchwork of powerful ethnic militias and pro-democracy groups. The military government doesn't control everything, but the people are fighting back. I wish I could show you a video that I've seen of a little boy trying to retrieve water out of a crack in the earth left by the earthquake. a crack in the earth providing water. The needs in Myanmar are great. Great. Unfortunately, the aid effort has dried up in Myanmar. Dried up. There is nobody to administer that aid now. There are no aid workers on the ground. There's no deployment happening. So drastically cut back. The Secretary of State, Mark Rubio, has defended the American response in Brussels last week, saying the United States is not the government of the world, adding that although Washington would continue to provide humanitarian assistance, other countries should also do more as well. There are a lot of other countries in the world, everyone should pitch in. I don't think it's fair to assume that the United States needs to continue to share the burden of 60 to 70% of humanitarian aid and work around the world. And that's exactly what the United States has done. Comparisons have been made from that earthquake that I told you about. Okay? Comparisons have been made between that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake in Turkey and this earthquake here. The comparisons are very similar. The comparisons are very similar. The earthquake in Turkey, Syria border, killed 5,000 people and injured 5,000 more. This earthquake so far has killed 3,550 people and 5,000 others have been injured. That's how bad this country is hurt. Unreal. It's sad. It's sad. The Red Cross continues flying in aid every day. The United States has also sent aid, but other countries should be there as well. Multiple countries are also filling the gap where aid has been limited from other countries. China, Russia, and India have rushed aid to Myanmar. They sent aid, they have sent rescue teams and mobile medical units to Myanmar. Okay, so Myanmar is not totally been left on its own. But what has happened is very tragic. Very tragic. This earthquake has left very few people with much left. It's left very few people with much left at all. It's sad. It's sad. I hate even thinking about this. Mark, Mark said he's thanking me here in the chat, saying thanks for keeping us all informed and speaking the truth to us all. Mark, I'm always going to speak the truth. I'm always going to speak the truth. For those of you that are religious, I speak the truth because I've been told the truth will set us free. I truly believe that. I believe that. Let's go back to the U.S. earthquake map. We've also had another earthquake hit over in the Himalaya Mountains. This, I told you, was going to happen. So far, we're only seeing 2 earthquakes. This one that we had the other day and this one here. This is a 4.1 earthquake. The last one was a 5.1 large earthquake. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake. Now, this is in the Himalaya Mountains, guys. I still believe we have a large amount of seismic energy tied up here in the Himalaya Mountains. Why? Because this is the edge of the plate. This edge of the plate ties to the same side of the plate where Myanmar got hit. So that energy has not all moved over here to the Himalaya Mountains yet. Some of the energy has moved, but not all of it. I believe we're going to see more earthquakes here. We have one other earthquake up here. This is in India. No, actually, I believe this is in China, but USGS says it's in India. This is a 4.4 earthquake. 4.4 earthquake. Notice they're only showing one other earthquake in this region. Way down here in the Gulf of Aden, near Somalia. This is also a 4.3 earthquake. 4.3 earthquake. Where did this come from? Down here in the Indian Ocean during the past several days. We've had numerous large earthquakes here. The large seismic energy has moved north and west. Okay? As you can see, the earthquake faults continue up here, what they call the Carlsberg Ridge. That's why we have this earthquake here in the Gulf of Aden near Somalia. That's what's happened. Okay? But notice what is actually going on. USGS is still not showing all the earthquakes here. I continue asking them questions, why not? This area between the Turkish-Syria border region I just got to talking about has 18 earthquakes here. Aftershocks. Aftershocks of that 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here 2 years ago. February 3rd, 2023. We're still having a large amount of aftershocks from that earthquake right here. Also, northern Turkey, southern Turkey, and central Turkey continue to get hit. 2.2, 1.5, 3.5, 4.2 earthquakes hitting this area. Western Turkey also getting hit. Northwestern Turkey getting hit. Southwestern Turkey getting hit. Right down here. We have a couple of quakes around Crete here, Crete, Greece down here. We have more earthquakes hitting here in the Dokanese Islands. Why? Because, folks, we have some volcanoes down here. We have some volcanoes. When the earthquakes started hitting here over a month ago, USGS was telling these people that, oh, these are only earthquakes because you have two fault zones underneath the Asian Sea here. But USGS did not tell them that there was magma coming to the volcanoes. But within about a week or so, all of a sudden it was found out that there was magma in the crust, underneath the water, headed to the volcanoes. Several cities here on the islands were evacuated. And some of them are still evacuated. However, some people are coming back. Some people are coming back over here. I believe rightly so. Some of the earthquakes have calmed down. But I fear any day now the seismic energy is going to pick up here. Because we still have magma beneath the crust that's moving here. It could pick up at any time, and we could actually have a volcano eruption down here in the Dokanese Islands. Whether it's out a new volcano under the water here, yes, we can have a new volcano under the water here, or we could have a volcano that's already on land, down here in Santorini, or up here near Amorgos. It can happen at any time. Over in mainland Greece, there are 14 earthquakes here. Why is USGS not talking about it? Why not? Earthquakes here in southern Italy. Earthquakes over here along the coast, west coast, southwest coast of Italy. Why? Because we have another volcano here. And we have magma rushing to these volcanoes. Magma rushing to these volcanoes, guys. Just like we have magma rushing to the volcanoes in the United States. Magma is also rushing to all the other volcanoes, recharging the other volcanoes. And yes, we could still have an eruption here in southwestern Italy. This is a very highly populated area. Very highly populated. Look at this. Look how highly populated it is. If this volcano erupts, all kinds of people are going to suffer. Earthquakes still hitting the air. Over here in north central Italy here, we have a swarm of earthquakes here, about 20 earthquakes here. I expect any day now to have another 5.0 earthquake up here. A year and a half ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake hit here because of all the smaller quakes that have hit. Now, USGS will deny it. But when we have a large amount of swarms of earthquakes ongoing over a long period of time, that indicates that there's a lot of seismic energy holed up there. And when that happens, we usually have a large earthquake. And I believe that larger earthquake is going to hit any time now. Anytime here in north central Italy. Anytime. Over here near the Alps Mountains here, most of these earthquakes are 1.2, 1.5, 1.7 tremors in the Alps Mountains. South there in northern Italy, both in northwestern, northeastern Italy, we're seeing 2.5 and 3.5 earthquakes hitting here. On the north side of the Alps here, Switzerland, 1.5, 2.7 earthquakes here. France has also seen some earthquakes here. USGS not showing any of them, not a one. Down here, Spain has also gotten hit. Why are they not showing the few earthquakes here? Why? Because they don't believe they have to. We have earthquakes here in Scandinavia, mostly southern Norway and southern Sweden. 1.5, 1.7 tremors. We have 2.7 minor earthquake up near Stockholm. That's what's going on here. Now, if you remember, we had a 5.3 earthquake in the central mid-Atlantic. Guess what? That energy has now moved north. Right here, in the north mid-Atlantic here, along the north mid-Atlantic ridge. We have a 4.8 earthquake here. Again, yesterday, right here, we had a 5.3. That energy has now moved north here with a 4.8 on the mid-Atlantic ridge. The mid-Atlantic ridge is pushing Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. The western mid-Atlantic is pushing Greenland, Canada, and the United States and northern Mexico in a southwesterly direction. The mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. It's expanding. That is why we continue to see earthquakes here in the mid-Atlantic ridge, up and down the entire mid-Atlantic ridge. Mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. Okay? Now, yes, we have some earthquakes over here in Puerto Rico, southwestern Puerto Rico, right down here. I've told you before what these earthquakes are from. They are aftershocks of an 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake that happened 6 years ago. 6 years ago, December 26th and December 28th. An 8.0 and 8.4 earthquake, man-made. Man-made. This is a 1.8 tremor aftershock. For the south here, it's a 2.5. 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles south of Guanica, Puerto Rico. Further north here, on land. On land. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. This is a 2.5, 2.2, 2.0, and a 2.3. Indios, Puerto Rico. Indios, Puerto Rico. 6 earthquakes down here, 7 earthquakes down here in southwestern Puerto Rico. All because of 2 major man-made earthquakes back in 2019. This is a 1.8 here near Porcahuera, Puerto Rico here. We have 1 earthquake over here off the west coast of Puerto Rico. I don't believe this earthquake has anything to do with the earthquakes in southwestern Puerto Rico. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. Over here in the Mona Strait here, that's called the Mona Strait. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. We'll continue to see 3.0, 3.3, and 3.7 earthquakes here in the Mona Strait. That's what's been happening. Off the southeastern coast of the Dominican Republic, this is a 3.4 earthquake here. Okay? That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. Now, I told you we're going to go up here into the Pacific Northwest. Then we're going to spend the rest of the time tonight talking about Southern California. Up here in Washington. This is the 1.1 earthquake here at Oso, Washington, a tremor. 1.1 tremor, guess what? 5.1 kilometers deep, 2 miles deep. 2 miles deep. We have a microquake here. This is at 0.9, 1.1 tremor here near Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. 1.0 tremor here. This is a 1.6 here in Quilcene, Washington. We keep having tremors here in Quilcene, Washington. What does that mean? That means eventually we're going to have a large earthquake here in Quilcene, Washington. This is the fourth such tremor here in the past week. Further south here, this is McCleary, Washington here. This is a 1.7 tremor here. This is 19 kilometers deep, nearly 8 miles deep. 8 miles deep. Now, why are they not showing any earthquakes here at Mount Rainier? Why not? There are earthquakes here at Mount Rainier, a lot of earthquakes. I'm about to show you those. I'm about to show you earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. Why are they not showing them there? We have one explosion. A spontaneous combustus carnivorous here. Spontaneous combustus carnivorous. Hey guys, you can't get this right or wrong. USGS has said it's a 1.1 explosion. It's out in the middle of a forest. Out in the middle of a forested area. In the mountains. In the mountains near volcanoes. Guess what? Look at these holes in the ground here. Volcanic actions happen here. Folks, this is not an explosion. It's not spontaneous combustus carnivorous. This is 1.1 tremor here near Fern Prairie, Washington. Fern Prairie, Washington. Now, yes, it's on the north side of the Columbia River here. That happens. Now, let's go further down here to the south. Why are we not seeing any earthquakes here at Mount Hood? There are. Quite a few, actually. I showed you in the past weeks Bachelor Volcano, Scissors Volcano. Today I'm going to show you activity at Scissors Volcanoes. However, Bachelor Volcano, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, has showed us nothing. They shut down the seismograph at Bachelor Volcano. Bachelor Volcano, they're not showing anything at all. It's a sad day. A sad day. One earthquake down here. This is Nasika Beach, Oregon. Nasika Beach, Oregon. This is 1.1 tremor here. 1.1 tremor here. Well, golly, Cascadia region's got an earthquake. Yeah, here. Here. An earthquake. Further south in the Cascadia region, way down here. Rio Dell, California, also part of the Cascadia Southern region. 2.3 earthquake here. Up here on the San Andreas Fault. Yes, up here on the San Andreas Fault. Southern Cascadia region. We have a 1.8 tremor. Further south here, both south of the San Andreas and south of the Gorda Escarpment, we have a 2.8 earthquake here. West of Petrolia, California. 37 kilometers west of Petrolia, California. Seismic energy here in the southern Cascadia subduction zone. Let's get off this map and show you seismograms. I'm sure you can't wait to see the seismograms. It's going to be fun. Going to be lots of fun. Let's go up here to a volcano near the Canadian border. It's called Mount Baker. This is the main site, the main seismogram here at Mount Baker. Let me enlarge it and show you what's going on here. Look at this. Mostly tremors. Mostly tremors here at Mount Baker. They're not going to show us much because the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network has doctored the seismogram. They've doctored the seismogram. I'm going to show you why in just a minute. Look at the bottom here. We have maybe one or two 2.0 earthquakes down here at the very bottom. On the final two bottom red lines here, one above the other. One earthquake here appears to have happened just after approximately 1:37 p.m. this afternoon. The other one happened at 2:37 p.m. this afternoon. 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 earthquakes. But the problem is this. Guess what? There's more energy than that here at Mount Baker. A lot more energy than that here at Mount Baker. Let me show you something. Look at this. This is a magma shown up by a seismograph here. The Baker seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. What you're seeing here is one of three channels on the seismograph. This seismograph is showing you this. It's showing you a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Baker. Look at that magma. The more wavy lines we have, the more magma coming into the magma chamber. When we have a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber, that would cause an earthquake. Magma comes into the magma chamber of a volcano and it fractures rocks inside the volcano. Fractures rocks, causing earth movement. Now the previous seismogram I just got through showing you hardly shows any kind of activity at all. That's because the agency has erased the information. They have erased the information. I believe we've not just had 2.0s, we probably had 3.0s, 3.5 earthquakes here at Mount Baker. Because they're not showing it. They're not showing it. This seismograph proves it. It proves it beyond a shadow of a doubt. We should be, with these kind of VLF waves here, VLF waves are caused by magma coming into the magma chamber. These kind of VLF waves, we should be seeing all kinds of earthquakes here at Mount Baker. But we're not. Because they don't want us to see what's going on. Let's go over to the north side of Mount Baker, to Shuxon. Shuxon is a ski resort on the north side of Mount Baker. Look what we have here. Look at the earthquakes here. Ignore these horizontal lines. These horizontal lines don't mean squat. They don't mean squat. These are called artifact. Artifact. What I want you to focus on are the seismic lines here in the center lower side of the seismograph. Look at this. It started at about 4:15 this morning. On the red line here at 4:15 this morning. We see activity, don't we? Some of that activity is covered up by activity after that. Okay? Some of this activity was 2.8, 2.9 minor earthquakes. 2.8, 2.9 minor earthquakes. Multiple sides of it. All throughout this red line here after 4:15. Okay? What happens after that? We have a blue line here. On this blue line on the left-hand side. Okay? The blue line over on the left-hand side is 4:30 in the morning. 4:31, we have a 2.6 earthquake. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. That continues. About a minute later, there's another one just like it. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Then we continue coming over here to the right. Still in the left center here. Still in the left center here. Guess what? Here at 4:27 p.m. I'm not p.m. 4:27 a.m. Guess what? Or 4:37 p.m. or a.m. 4:37 a.m. We have a 2.93.0 earthquake. 2.93.0 earthquake here. Mount Baker. Now, this is the first good-sized earthquake we've had here at Mount Baker that I found in the past 3 years. That's because I believe the agency has been deleting the information. The agency's been deleting the information. Watch what happens next week. Watch what happens next week. They will completely take this information down. We're not going to see much of any information here at Mount Baker because I showed you this. They're going to delete it. They're going to delete it. Let's go further south to Glacier Peak. Glacier Peak is a volcano, about 47 miles southwest of Mount Baker. Look what we're seeing here. The main seismogram at Mount Baker showed nothing, not squat. And then I went and checked up this seismogram here. This is the HHN channel of Glacier Peak. This showed all the story, the entire story. Look at the magma coming into Glacier Peak. USBS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network know what's going on here at Glacier Peak. They only have one seismograph here on the mountain because the environmental groups don't want any more seismographs because they would disrupt the little animals running around here at Glacier Peak. Animals running along the mountain. Marmots. The environmentalists here at Glacier Peak don't want any more seismographs here. 2 years ago, there was talk of them putting up 5 more seismographs here at Glacier Peak. They need it. They need it. This volcano is a very active volcano, as you can see here. But again, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network scrubbed the activity from the main seismograph. They do it all the time. So you have to kind of look around and find the information that you need. I did. And I'm showing it to you here. Insane. Let's go down to Mount Rainier. You can't wait to see Mount Rainier, I bet. You can't wait to see Mount Rainier here. This is Camp Sherman. Camp Sherman. Now you do see some activity here. You do see some activity here. Let's look up here at the top of the seismograph here. The seismogram here is showing an earthquake here on the black line here at the top. The black line here is 5 p.m. on the left-hand side, Pacific time last night. Over here, now we are talking about approximately 5:10 p.m. 5:10 p.m. We have a 3.0 minor or 3.0 small earthquake here. 3.0 small earthquake. Yes, we're seeing a lot of other tremors here. A lot of tremors here. They didn't show any tremors today at all. None. None. Why not? There are other earthquakes here as well. Let me enlarge this seismogram just a little bit more. See where it says 23 over on the left-hand side? 23 is 11 p.m. We come over here about 5 minutes later, 11:05. We see a 2.8 earthquake here. 2.8 minor earthquake here. Yes, we're seeing a lot of other tremors here as well. A ton of other tremors here. Why are they not showing them? What are we seeing here? This red sign here is a magma churn signal. Superheated magma causes magma churn signals. What are we seeing here? Magma churn signals are typically 23 to 24 lines high. Let's count the lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This says, this magma churn signal tells us that the United States Geological Survey and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network are only showing us like 48% of real world. They're only showing us 48% of real world. That's what that means. Okay? So what we saw there with a 3.0 earthquake yesterday evening, that probably was close to a 4.5 moderate earthquake. 4.5 moderate earthquake here at Mount Rainier. Also out to the right of this magma churn signal. See these other vertical lines? These are indicating we have water vapor evaporating out of the magma here. How does that happen? 6 to 7% of all magma is water. 6 to 7% of all magma is water. So what we're seeing here is magma coming up into the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier, and Mount Rainier is steaming. Mount Rainier is steaming. This proves it. Now, I don't have a current picture of Mount Rainier steaming today because they won't show it to us. Any pictures we get from Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, or any other volcanoes happen because you guys send me pictures. Mount Rainier is steaming every day. Mount Rainier is steaming every day, always does. Mount St. Helens is also steaming. Mount Hood is steaming a lot of the time as well, not all the time. But it happens. It happens, guys. What we're seeing here is ongoing and will continue to be. It'll continue to be. We have one other earthquake over here on the right-hand side. It happens to be on the black line here. The black line is hardly visible here. Why? Because the agency doesn't want us to see it. The black line that we can hardly see here, it represents 7 a.m. on the left-hand side here. 7 a.m. this morning. Over here, this would be about 7:13 a.m. we have a vertical line here. If we didn't know we have this magma churn signal, we would probably label this a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. But knowing that they have turned down the seismograph, here by almost 51%, this is probably a 4.0, a 4.0 moderate earthquake here at Mount Rainier. This is why we look at other seismographs. This is exactly why we look at other seismographs, to see what's going on. Okay? Let's look at one other seismograph here at Mount Rainier. This one is I'm going to show you the one at Camp Muir. Camp Muir is showing the seismograph here. Again, the Camp Muir seismograph is a multi-channel seismograph. It has like 4 or 5 different channels. This channel here shows us magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier. Look at all this magma here. With all this magma, you would think that the main seismogram would show you earthquake activity, because this magma is coming into the volcano at such a high rate, under pressure, fracturing rock as it comes into the volcano. Fracturing rock causes earthquakes. That's not what we're seeing here at Camp Sherman. Meaning the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network has been scrubbing information from the seismograph. Scrubbing it. They don't want us to see this. Mount Rainier is, just like most of the other volcanoes, is gearing up for an eruption. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are gearing up for an eruption. This proves it. This proves it. One more seismogram to show you here at Mount Rainier. Then we'll move down to Mount St. Helens. This is Emerald Ridge at Mount Rainier. Look at this. Mount Rainier is a very busy volcano. This happens to be the HHZ channel here on this seismograph. Look what we see here. We see earthquakes, don't we? Several earthquakes here. We also see a lot of activity here at the top and at the very bottom of this seismograph. Why? Because of the last seismograph I showed you. A lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. That's what's causing all of this seismic energy here. That's what's causing all this seismic energy right here. Incredible. That's Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is gearing up to eruption. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Let's go down south to Mount St. Helens. I'm going to show you the main seismograph at East Dome Mount St. Helens. The seismograph sits up on top of the volcanic rock at the summit of Mount St. Helens. That volcanic rock sat there and was left from the lava that hardened. That's why this seismograph sits here. Look what's happening here. Mount St. Helens is also getting ready to erupt, guys. Mount St. Helens is getting ready to erupt. For the most part, this is all tremor activity. I'm saying for the most part. For the most part. But there's a lot of tremors here as well. There are a lot of tremors here as well. That is East Dome Mount St. Helens. Wait till I show you the others here. Let me show you Studebaker Ridge on the north side of Mount St. Helens. Look at this. Look at this. This is also showing a lot of activity at Mount St. Helens. Magma coming into the volcanic chamber. Look at all this activity here. Hippen City says they're here in the chat saying they live in Linwood, Washington. This is very interesting to them. Well, guess what? Mount St. Helens is gearing up to erupt again. This activity proves it. Proves it. No, we don't see any large earthquakes here on this side of it, but we show a lot of activity. Mount St. Helens is getting hit by magma. A lot of magma. Let me show you the magma that Mount St. Helens is getting. This is the seismogram at September Lobe. The September Lobe computer is a multi-channel seismograph. As a result, we are seeing this channel here. This is channel BDF CC01. These vertical lines here, these VLF waves here, prove beyond a shadow of a doubt what's going on here. Magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens. This is proof of it. This is proof of it. There is a lot of magma coming into this magma chamber. A lot of magma coming into this magma chamber, guys. Look at it. Look at that. Now, the majority of this was last night here. The majority of this activity is last night. But the activity continues all day long. All day long. Mount St. Helens, guys. Let's go down to Mount Hood. Let's go over into Mount Hood. Mount Hood is in northern Oregon. Wait till you see this. The first seismograph I went to is a seismograph over in Hood Meadows at the base of the volcano. What we're seeing here most is tremors here. At 5 p.m. at the very top on the left-hand side, all you see are tremors. Very, very minor tremors. However, what happened today? Today changed things. Today changed things. Look what's happening here. We're having a lot of earthquakes here. These vertical lines, if it doesn't have a dot in the middle of the vertical line, this is steam activity. These are steam signals. If there's a vertical line with a dot in the middle of it, that's an earthquake. This energy here is steam escaping from Mount Hood. There's a lot of magma here at Mount Hood. We also have some earthquakes and tremors hitting. Let's take a look at another seismogram here. This is Palmer Lift. This is on the south side of Mount Hood. South side of Mount Hood. This is halfway up the volcano on the south side. Look what we're seeing here. We're seeing some tremors. We're seeing some moderate earthquakes here. Tremors and moderate earthquakes here. That's significant. Mount Hood has magma coming into the magma chamber here. A lot of magma coming into the magma chamber, and we're seeing the activity here. We're seeing a lot of the activity here. Now, let me show you something here. Let me show you Timberline. Timberline is a base of Mount St. Helens on the south side. It's called Government Camp. Government Camp. Look at the earthquakes and tremors hitting here. We don't have a magma churn signal here, but we have these earthquake signals here. What I believe is happening here, okay? You see 02 on the left-hand side, that would be 2 a.m. this morning. On the black line, approximately 2:05, we have a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. Yes, we have tremors here as well. You can see it. The thicker lines here represent magma coming into the magma chamber. The thicker the lines, the more magma. The thinner the lines, less magma. It's called magma pulse signals. Magma pulse signals. We're seeing that as well. The more magma we have coming into the magma chamber, we're seeing these vertical lines here. Tremors. For the most part, it's just tremors. But occasionally we will get a moderate earthquake, sometimes even a larger earthquake than that. So we know for a fact that Mount Hood is moving. It's moving. Okay, let's go south. The next volcano I want to show you here, actually before we leave Mount Hood, let me show you Tom, Dick, and Harry. Tom, Dick, and Harry is a seismogram on the north end of Mount Hood, the far north end of Mount Hood. Look what we see here. Look at all this activity here. These are tremors, guys. These are all tremors. Yes, there's some larger minor earthquakes here as well. Taiwan region of 4.7 earthquake just hit there. But folks, this is Tom, Dick, and Harry. Look at the seismic activity here. Folks, it's busy. No, I don't believe Mount Hood is getting ready to erupt. Mount Hood is just as busy as any of them. It's not getting ready to erupt, but it's as busy as most of the others. Okay? Let's go south. This time, let's take a look at Sisters Volcano. Sisters Volcano. Look at this. Sisters Volcano is 3 volcanoes. There is one seismograph monitoring 3 volcanoes. It's a complex. Sisters North, Sisters Central, and Sisters South. Look at the earthquakes here. You see some rectangles here. Ignore that. That's crap.
Location, Northern Sumatra, Indonesia, class flight, magnitude 4.3, 20 minutes ago.
4.3 moderate earthquake in Sumatra. Like I said, they've gotten hit by a bunch of moderate earthquakes. But again, USGS is not going to show them because USGS doesn't want anybody to know what exactly is going on. Ignore the rectangles here and ignore these thicker red and blue and black lines here. They're crap. That's crap. It's called abstract. But we can see these earthquakes here. Over on the left-hand side after 4:15 this morning. About 4:16 a.m. this morning, we have a 2.7 earthquake. 2.7 earthquake. We see the seismic buildup on the left-hand side with tremors. Then we have the 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. And then we have the secondary wave. The secondary wave of more tremors until it totally dissipates. Over on the right-hand side, this would be 2:14 a.m. this morning. This time it's 2.5 earthquake. 2.5 earthquake. You can see other 2 minor earthquakes here as well as some tremors here. Now, I don't know whether you heard it over our microphone, We just had some thunder. We just had some thunder. I have not seen any lightning at all. If we see lightning, we're turning things off. We're going to shut things down. Now, this is what's happening in the Pacific Northwest. I'm showing you this because they are not showing anything. They're not showing relatively anything in the Pacific Northwest. I just got through showing you information. I just got through showing you the information. A lot of it. Let's take a look at Southern California. Southern California. This is off the coast on Channel Island. Look at this sidegraph. Look at this sidegraph, guys. Yes, we're having some tremors here, but we're also seeing some minor earthquakes here as well. We're seeing some minor earthquakes here as well. Over on the left side on the red line here. Left side on the red line here. Just a second. Okay, now I can enlarge this thing. We have a good sized earthquake here on Channel Island. Just after 9 a.m. this morning on the left-hand side. Actually, it's about 9:17 a.m. this morning on the red line. We have a 3.0 small earthquake. 3.0 small earthquake there. On the top black line here. The top black line on the left-hand side would be 5 a.m. About 5:11, 5:12 a.m. this morning, there was a 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake. Yes, we're seeing a lot of tremors and minor earthquakes here. Over here on the blue line, just below that red one. The blue line on the left-hand side will be 10:30. Come over here to the center of it. About 10:38 a.m. this morning. This looks to be a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake. On that same line to the left, 2.3 earthquake. Unreal. Channel Island, guys. Now we see more activity at Channel Island than we've seen before. This is offshore from Los Angeles. Go figure. Let's go over to Bakersfield to the desert on the east side. Look at this, guys. Look at this. More tremor activity than we've seen here before. This is a San Andreas fault going past Bakersfield this morning and this afternoon. More thunder boomers. More thunder boomers here. That's Bakersfield. Now I'm going to go through most of this rather fast here because we don't have much time left here to be here tonight. I want to get off here before we damage our equipment. I'm taking you out to the desert area in Rancho Mirage. Look what happened here on the San Andreas Fault this morning. Rancho Mirage. We had several 3.0 earthquakes back to back. About 6:40 a.m. this morning. At least three 3.0 earthquakes happened here this morning. And a bunch of tremors. Lots of fun, huh? That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. Let me show you the Baldwin Hills today. Remember we had a 2.7 earthquake in the Baldwin Hills last night? Look at this. This is what we've been seeing at the Baldwin Hills for weeks now. Nothing but tremors. And they're not showing the entire seismograph. Caltech is shutting off the seismograph. This particular diagram starts at 4 a.m. this morning. You don't see 4 a.m. because it doesn't show it. All you've seen is 5 a.m. here. But you don't see anything after 5 a.m. until 9 or 8:30. Nothing between 5 a.m. and 8:30 this morning. Then we're seeing nothing but tremors. That's because something else is happening. And they do not want us to see it. They don't want us to see this here. Let me show you this diagram from yesterday, just to give you an idea of what's going on here at Baldwin Hills. They're playing games, guys. I can guarantee you that they're playing games. This is a diagram from yesterday, and yet we had a 2.7 earthquake here yesterday. Nothing but tremors here. They are lying through their proverbial teeth. They are lying through their proverbial teeth. Incredible. You guys hearing the thunder too? Demon Catman, did you hear thunder? Renee Seppi says severe weather warning boxes active on radar. Maybe I ought to get off here, but I will get off here just give me another minute. I want to show you what's going on because LA is moving. LA is moving in a huge way. A huge way. Let me show you Long Beach. Look here in Long Beach. 2.0s, 2.5 earthquakes hitting here in Long Beach, California. Look at that. How about Anaheim? Let's take a look at State Street in Anaheim. Look at this. Anaheim's moving. I would dare say we had 3.0 activity here. Anaheim, California, where Disneyland is, Knott's Berry Farm. Or in October, it's Spooksbury Farm. Activity in Los Angeles is moving, guys. It's moving big time. Big time. Okay? I don't want to scare anybody, but I'm telling you right now, you folks in Los Angeles need to be prepared. Let me show you Ellis, California, just north of Los Angeles. Look at this. 3.0 earthquakes frequently here. One after 6:40 a.m. this morning. Look at that this morning. Up at the top blue line there. 6:40 this morning. 3.0 earthquakes going for almost 2 minutes continuously. Then another 3.0 sequence at about 8:40. Incredible. Incredible, guys. This whole area is on fire. Not literally, but seismically. This whole area is on fire, guys. I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you. It's moving in a big way. Let me show you Walnut La Puente on the east side of LA. Look at this. Look at this. This is wild. This is wild. This is what's going on in Los Angeles, guys. Yes, this is a volcano, but this is what's going on in Los Angeles. Okay? It's moving. It's moving in a big way. Now you may hear thunder here. My microphone may have picked up thunder here. Okay? Before I get off the air, let me show you the weather here where I'm at. I have a storm, what they call a storm shield here. I can show you what's going on here. Look at this. See that dot there? See the blue dot? That's where I live here in Morganton. The thunderstorms are coming here right now. That's why you can see what's going on. You hear it? Thunderstorms are coming through here as well. The blue dot that you see there is Morganton. We have thunderstorms coming through here right now. It looks like they're going to move north and east through here. It's coming through. That's what's going on. Okay. Actually, it's a red dot, not a blue dot. This red dot right here is where I live. That red dot here is where I live. The thunderstorm's moving through right now. So guys, I think I'm going to get off the air. I don't want to blow up my system here. I just got this organized here, so we'll be safe here. Guys, I hope you have a good night. I've given you the information you need to make plans for yourselves. The Pacific Northwest is under fire with volcanoes. And I'm going to tell you this, there are earthquakes happening all over Washington and Oregon as well, and even up into Vancouver, Washington. It's happening. It's happening. Get yourself safe, guys. Get yourself safe. Make your plans. Make your emergency plans. Pamela, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Guys, I love each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. I do. Please be safe in whatever you do. I care for you. I want you to be safe. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.